Credit cards are handy for consumers. They bundle electronic payment, consumer protection, loyalty incentives, and revolving credit into a single plastic package. Americans spend around $3.5 trillion on credit cards. That exceeds debit cards, to be sure, and it represents about 20% of the US GDP. Obviously, the growth of e-commerce payments is disproportionately pushing the percentage of credit cards used. People are starting to get comfortable with digital channels generally, and this is becoming the majority. So we're going to start to see a lot more chances for all of the services included in the credit card to make it to consumers in a little bit different way. People are starting to get comfortable with actively configuring how their card is used. So we have services such as Greenlight that allow parents to program where and how much their kids might be spending on a credit card. Revolut is an account that's had a lot of popularity in Europe, and that's letting consumers switch the currency in which the card makes a payment. They've now announced that they're headed to the US. Revolving credit is hugely popular as a feature of cards, and that leads to an average of over 4 credit cards per household in the US. But peer-to-peer and other alternative personal loans are becoming easy to access digitally, which should put a lot of pressure on the revolving credit offerings linked to cards. And of course, most other industrialized countries already use alternatives to revolving credit, especially when we're talking about e-commerce purchases. So even the form factor of the card itself is in question. Apple's announcement at its developer conference this last week that it's going to open some of its contactless features on its devices follows similar movements from the Android camp. And so I think we're going to see a lot more ways to pay that don't involve pulling out a piece of plastic, but use the smartphone that we really never leave home without. It's an interesting time of change for consumer tool that's been trusted for 2 generations.